Alright guys, it is Sunday afternoon. It is hot out here. I just got done about an hour ago spraying my leaf springs here for my 55. These are the Posies 3-inch low leaves, and these are reverse eye. This is I believe it's the third set of these I've had before, and I actually like them. They're not priced too bad in Speedway, is where I usually buy them. Now I did buy these like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, so that's the last set I've bought. But anyway, these things, they'd been laying around and they got surface rust all over them, so I had to go in and clean them up real good. And after I got them cleaned, I noticed that they had a ton of heat scale on them. If you have ever messed with heat scale, you know how much I hate that stuff. It is hard to get off, and you have to get real aggressive with it, and by the time you get it off, you've got some pretty good deep scratches in your metal. So I had to go through the stages, and it was most of the day yesterday and just a little bit of this morning to get these things ready. But as you can see, they cleaned up pretty nice. Now they're not perfect. In a perfect roll, I'd like to have taken the clamps off and taken the bolts out and taken them completely apart and went through and sanded and rounded the edges and just really slicked them up. But I'm just to the point where I am freaking done, man. I'm ready to get that chassis back as a roller, and that would probably take me another week to do all this crap. So it is what it is. I did get all the heat scale off the top and the bottom, and went through all the grades of basically grinding discs. Those flap wheels, I started out with a 60, and I went to an 80, and then I went to 80 grit on a DA, and then I went to 120 on the DA, and then I went to 180 on the DA, and then I painted them. That was as far as I went. They're pretty clean looking. This is Summit's Hot Rod Satin Black single stage paint that they sell. I tried using it on my chassis, but the stuff was real blotchy. If you can imagine trying to spray a chassis when it's hot outside, you got 4 sides of each frame rail and all the way around. So, it was going on blotchy in areas because you couldn't keep it wet long enough to make it flow out. So being as it was just the leaf springs here, it went on pretty good. I'm happy with it, and I got to use something that I already had here. And anyway, they're pretty clean. I did use some ARP nuts on these. Just because I had them here. They were leftovers from my salon build. I used all black 5-point ARP nuts and bolts on that car. So these are a 5/16 by 24 thread. So luckily I had 2 nuts here. Anyway, they're done. I'm happy, and so tomorrow I'll be installing the leaf springs in the rear axle. Kind of hard to see, but these are my 2-inch lowering blocks. These are solid aluminum. One of my real good friends, his brother worked in a aircraft parts place, and he was a CNC operator. So he basically made these for me out of solid aircraft aluminum, and they actually have a steel sleeve and a steel pin inside of them. So that is pretty freaking nice. I gave him all the caliper stuff he needed, and they are a perfect, nice and tight fit. Just awesome parts. But it's kind of hard to see because I got a shadow out here, but I don't know if they're dry enough. I don't really want to handle them because I just set it down there an hour ago. But anyway, I laid it over there, and I'm spraying them one at a time. I got the other one over here on my nice little redneck jig I've got going on over here. Looks like a catastrophe waiting to happen, along with the way I've got this all set up to get underneath those and paint top and bottom. I mean, I have to get pretty creative out here, so. Anyway, I'm happy. It's just every one thing has been a battle trying to clean and paint. The leaf springs was something I thought I'd, use a knotted cut brush on the grinder and I'd be done and then just paint them, and ended up finding all that heat scale on the top and bottom, and it was just hours. I mean, they look good now, but it's the way I'm looking at it is if I had taken them apart and went through and edged everything and completely smoothed everything, it'd be freaking artwork when they were done. But like I said, I'm done, man. Anyway, I'm going to do another video tomorrow, and tomorrow evening, and it will show I will more than likely have the rear axle in it. I'm wanting to have all the rear end back together with the axles in it, the rear end cover on, the brakes on, the wheels and tires on. At least get the rear part as a roller. I did start assembling my front control arms in the house, and of course that's turned into a big mess as well. But anyway, that's it. That's the leaf springs.